Alright, YouTube, we are back, of course, talking some Final Fantasy. We're talking some Final Fantasy XVI. We're talking 7 Remake, Xbox, I guess probably also Switch 2. We're talking about sales, because this has been a pretty big discussion over the last, handful of days when it comes to Final Fantasy XVI on Xbox. There's a claim going around on June 15th that within the first week of 16 being on Xbox that it had sold around 22,000 copies. This claim wasn't really based on anything. It was just coming from some account that has an attachment to Alinea Analytics. And it was purely an estimation. Like, somebody actually asked them, specifically Alinea Analytics, for an estimation, and they said around 22,000. Also, somebody in the replies provided a screenshot from that account where they confirmed that it is just an estimation based off of reviews. Like, there's this many reviews on Xbox as of the time of that tweet, and this many reviews on PS5 and on Steam, and I guess kind of cross-referencing that to the sales on those other platforms. It's essentially looking at the amount of reviews on PS5, for example, versus the amount of sales that we know of, which I think is 3 million. And doing the kind of math on that, and then the 700 reviews on Xbox, that equates to this many sales, essentially, I think is what they're doing. Clearly not the best unit of measurement if we're trying to go for a sales number, but I guess it's kind of the only thing we have, really. What else do we have until they come out with an actual sales number, which I imagine they're going to avoid if it is low. If it's not selling a million or a couple million, within the first week or two or something, they're not really going to talk about the amount of sales as. But I'll be honest with you guys, while the source is kind of weird or whatever with how they're doing their stuff, I don't think 22,000 in the first week is probably that far off. There's a report that came out from Statista, how do you say that shit, earlier this year, around March of 2025, that 16 had only sold 3.5 million copies. Whether or not that number is 100% accurate, it could be a little bit more, a little bit less, whatever. Roughly 3.5 million as of March of this year. But 3 million of that was the opening week, summer 2023, right? June 2023. So from launch week all the way to March of 2025, and with the PC release, it had only sold 500,000 extra copies. So the idea that it might have only sold 22,000 copies or something on Xbox in the first week is not that surprising to me. In fact, it might be a bit higher than I was expecting. I don't really have an estimation or what I thought it would be, but 22,000 in the first week for a game that is almost 2 years old on a platform where people primarily game on Game Pass, and it's a game that's not being presented on Game Pass, at least not as of right now. You got to pay the full $50. I think it's probably pretty accurate, or at least close to it. Even throw a couple more thousand on there and a couple tens of thousands. Maybe it's 32,000, 42,000, 52,000 sales in the first week, whatever. That's still not that great of a number. I'd be pretty surprised if it's any higher than 50,000. That's the absolute max, and I would be surprised if it even reached that. It's not really a fault of the game, because I think the game is great. There's a fantastic story there, great characters. The world is great. There's a little bit to be desired in terms of exploration, and the combat can be a little bit repetitive. But overall, I think 16 is a fantastic game. Sales are low on Xbox. The fault, for starters, lies with Square Enix for implementing the fucking exclusivity shit that they've been doing the last however many years. That's really held back the Remake trilogy and also 16. To a certain degree, it could fall on Xbox just because of the Game Pass model, because the majority of games that come to Xbox are day one Game Pass, right? So the majority of players on that platform consume games, right? And why wouldn't you? For $10 or $15 a month, you get access to all the brand new games, at least that are available on Xbox, right? And 16 is not one of those games. You have to pay the full $50. If I'm somebody that games exclusively on Xbox, and I'm used to just getting games on Game Pass, why would I want to pay $50 for this game when I could probably wait for it to come to Game Pass, or just play anything else that's available on Game Pass? Honestly, as we're talking about it, I think it was kind of a big misstep to not have it available on Game Pass. Now, I don't know how Game Pass equates to sales. Is a download a sell, essentially? Is that how that works, or whatever? I don't know, but there's something 35 million subscribers on Game Pass. And even if you just got a portion of that, downloading 16 for free on Game Pass, that'd at least look good. If you just theoretically the first couple days, first week or something, you could put out the headline of 1 million downloads on Xbox, 2 million downloads on Xbox. That looks pretty fucking good. Especially considering that last we had heard it sold around 3.5 million total between PC and PS5. Imagine if they could have got an equal number of downloads on Game Pass or more. Imagine if they could put out the headline that there was 4 million or 5 million downloads on Xbox or something like that. Just because it is free, who knows how many people would have downloaded it, right? It'd be kind of interesting if you could get more players on Xbox than there was on PS5 and PC. Because regardless of whether or not the 22,000 sales is accurate, it was never going to be that many on Xbox. Because that's just the kind of the truth of it. As much as I want, Square Enix's games in the Final Fantasy series to be on Xbox, there's just weirdly not a player base there for JRPGs for the most part. It's just not the kind of thing that they do or whatever. And how you circumvent that and grow an audience on Xbox is through Game Pass, right? It's a 2-year-old game. Why do I want to pay $50? I already pay, however much money per month for Game Pass. I get access to all the new games. Why would I want to pay $50 for that game that's 2 years old? And if I was somebody that's already interested in the Final Fantasy series or 16, I've probably already played it on PC. Myself and plenty of other people out there, you already have a PS5 because you're interested in the Final Fantasy series. You want to play, 7 Remake, 7 Rebirth, 16, whatever. And you probably already played the shit 2 years ago. But I guess ultimately it does probably lie with Square Enix the most just because of the exclusivity model. Like, if these games were dropping day one on like PS5 and Steam, and I guess also Xbox, overall sales might be better. Now, whether or not there's a big audience on Xbox at that point, who knows exactly? It's kind of one of those, we can't really know things. Like, if we had started with like Remake back in 2020, dropping on like Xbox, PC, and PS4 day one, there might be an audience on Xbox these days. Maybe. But we don't know that, and we can't know that, which is unfortunate. And that's when we can kind of circle the conversation back around to Remake and Xbox and Switch 2 later this year, because I'm very curious how it's going to do, because it'll be kind of a measuring stick of sorts, like whether or not the Xbox platform will want to embrace, the Final Fantasy series, Remake, integrate, whatever, remains to be seen. I'm very curious about Switch 2, though, because a lot of people do like to double dip with the Switch consoles, the Nintendo consoles, just because they get some of their favorite games on the go. There's also the Steam Deck, of course, but still, there's a decent amount of people that will maybe buy it again for the second or third time, whatever, just to be able to play it on the go on their Switch 2, right? But I'm very curious how, like, the Nintendo audience will embrace Remake Integrate. That's something I'm very interested in. There's also, like, the Rogue Ally Xbox thing coming up, and also, like, Play Anywhere, which I don't know if, Remake is going to be a part of that, but those are also handheld options as well. But also with Xbox, are they going to learn from 16? Like, if 16 is indeed underperforming and not making very many sales, will they day one Game Pass Remake Integrate, and how will that change things if they do that? If they put it on Game Pass day one, but also you can buy it separately for like $50 or whatever, like, how will the game perform? Will it do better or worse than 16? Because the thing is, by the time this shit comes out in winter of this year, fucking Remake itself is more than 5 years old, pushing towards 6 years old, and Remake Integrate is more than 4 years old, right? Pushing towards kind of 5 years old. Like, this is a pretty old game that's finally coming to Xbox, finally coming to, the Nintendo platforms. It's like, how much do people want to play this shit? Like, they've had like 5 to 6 years damn near to play these games. There's a good chance they've already played it. So we can kind of come back to the exclusivity conversation, right? Because if there are plans to put Remake Integrate on Xbox eventually, why did it take this long, bro? Why are we taking 4.5 years to get there, man? Like, I understand, like, waiting for the Switch 2. Like, you had no option there, I guess. There's, no way to put it on the first Switch. But my God, the Xbox next generation console, current generation console has been around for a while now, dude. You've had ample opportunity to get it there. It's taken a very fucking long time. Or is it too little too late? Which is kind of where I'm leaning. And then, of course, how does all of this affect Remake Part 3, right? Like, what are we going to see when that game starts getting marketing and the launch of that game? Is it going to launch on multiple platforms? Is it going to have a very short exclusivity window on PlayStation? How are they going to handle that? That's something I'm very curious about. I do want to add this too really quickly here at the end of the video, just because I came across it while making the video, that there was an article from Screen Rant from yesterday that said that 16 was actually like the number 11 top selling game on Xbox as of the article from yesterday. So it might be doing kind of well in terms of sales. It might be more than 22,000. It could be significantly more than that. I guess that remains to be seen. If we ever do get like a sales number, I definitely want to do like a follow-up video for sure. Ultimately, all I give a shit about is people being able to play these games. I don't have like a dog in the fight. I don't give a shit about like platform superiority or anything like that. I couldn't give a shit less because who's got time for that, right? But I just want everybody to be able to experience these games. 7 Remake, 7 Rebirth, 16, 7 Remake Part 3, all the shit. Like, I'm not a fan of exclusivity. I've never been a fan of it. You guys have heard me be an advocate for, these games coming to Xbox for years now. But so there's never anything specifically against like the Nintendo platform, but it's just like, obviously the Switch couldn't run. Maybe Remake or Remake Integrate, I guess, whatever. But now we have Switch 2, which is capable of running Remake Integrate. Presumably, it could also run Rebirth and a 16. And I'd love to see, Remake Part 3 be like day one on Switch 2, Xbox, PC, PS5. Like, God damn it. Why aren't we doing this shit? It's also another kind of rabbit hole to go down, and it's been, several years at this point, but I'm still pissed they didn't try to put like the PS4 version, the original version of Remake, onto like Xbox One and also the first Switch, right? Like, even if they had to like dumb it down a bit to put it on Switch, like, why are you not doing that? What a missed opportunity. Like, what a massive install base on Xbox One and Switch. What are we doing? Who's running this fucking company? I'm going on a bit of a tangent here. I think we should wrap the video up. So pass off to you guys. What are your thoughts on the Xbox sales? Are there concrete numbers out there? I couldn't find any. If you guys are seeing this, a day or two later, a week later, if there's like some updated numbers, if there is a concrete number that I'm not aware of, let me know for sure. Because I'm very curious how it is doing on Xbox. I want it to do good. I don't want it to be 22,000. I want it to be 100,000, a million, 2 million, whatever. I'd love for it to do insanely well on Xbox. But the odds are very fucking low that 16 is doing that good. It's ultimately Square Enix's fault. Anyways, that's the video. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Just in the description below. Follow me for dashingdavidbusiness. That's it. Bye.
Used to care what people thought. but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame, we blow that. Like Coltrane, we in here. Like Rogaine, or leave it. Like Cobain.